it's Jenny Bowen, speech language therapist here at Speech Family in Atlanta. The most common question or comment that I receive in emails and on the phones from my parents is, does my child have articulation or my child needs speech therapy? And so I'd like to back up a little bit, and in this video, I just want to address the questions I ask parents to see if we should have a speech language evaluation, and then 2, what that evaluation looks like, 3, what the treatment looks like. So first on the phone, I do like to start to get a bit of a background from the parent. I want to know, how was the pregnancy? I want to know, does the child have a history of hearing infections? Because that affects how we're going to use those sounds, or how we're hearing those sounds, so then how we're going to produce those sounds. I like to ask parents if they can give me any examples. 3, I like to know, do we even have, especially with environmental allergies, down here in Atlanta, the pollen and allergies, environmental allergies run so high. And so a lot of our kids are always congested. That congestion causes that mouth to be open. If that mouth is always open because that's how they're breathing, then that is going to affect how we're using our tongue. It's going to affect that jaw strength. Therefore, any sounds that come out of there will be affected. And 3rd, also, is our kiddo a picky eater? Because how we use the strength in the jaw and how we use our tongue to move that food around, all of that can also affect how we produce those speech sounds. An evaluation, when I'm talking to parents and they let me know my child is 2 years old, either they're not really saying any words, they're 2 and I can't understand anything that they're saying. And this is not just at 2, but even right around, I'm wanting to know 16, 18 months old, what kind of words are we hearing from the little one? And even going up, but hearing that, given the background of the kids, our kids by 2, to give you a point of reference, should be 50% intelligible to a complete stranger. And moms and dads and even grandparents or caretakers, everyone understands that child because we're so zoned in on them. So we understand what they're trying to say and what they need. But to a stranger, are they 50% by 2? And that is the minimum. That's what ASHA, our board, American Speech and Language and Hearing Associates, say. That's what research tells us. By 2, at least 50% intelligible. By 4, 100% intelligible. So that gives parents kind of an idea right there. Do I need to come in for a speech and language evaluation? Once they come in for a speech and language evaluation, here at Speech Therapy, this is what my goal is. I am going to be playing with the child. We're going to be having fun because I want them to just try to be communicating with me. I want to hear those sounds, and I want the child to know that they're also in a safe space so that they feel no pressure. And then once I start to get this kind of informal language assessment, hearing those sounds, that can also help guide me into the standardized assessment that we'll use. And so with that, it's really just looking at pictures and having the child label, what is this? Cow. That way we're hearing k. All right. What is this? This is a frog. What color is the frog? So we're looking at every little sound and where that sound is being used, if it's at the beginning of the word, in the middle of a word, or at the end of the word. And then we look to see if there's a pattern, or if there's any types of substitutions, or if we're just not even using that sound. Based off of what that evaluation tells us, then can lead us into, okay, the child, yes, needs therapy, or no, does not need therapy. And I will say 90% of the time, if a parent is calling me and they come in, it's because therapy is going to be warranted. And so next is, what does therapy look like? And it's really based off what that assessment has told us. The child's using a specific sound, like maybe the k sound at the beginning, but it's not coming in at the middle or at the end. Or maybe the child is 5 and still producing the that R sound as w. And parents, the R is so complex. Yes. And so anyway, and part of that will also entail educating you about, okay, these are the sounds that we need. This is how we're going to do it. You're going to get homework. But for our little ones that are really under the age of 4, even 5, I want to be using a lot of play with it, because I want the child, to feel confident using those speech sounds, but showing the parents and showing the child how we can play targeting that specific sound that we're wanting to develop. And then for our older kids, that might be, depending on what the 4-year-old looks like, the 5, the 6, the 8, the 10-year-old, that's going to be a little bit more of a drill base where we're going to really, again, this depends on that type of air, but depending on that, it'll really be teaching them where to place that tongue, where to move their mouth, how to move that mouth, because at that age, they're able to follow those directions and be more cognizant of it in their speech. And then last thing, when does my child finish therapy? How long does this look like? There's no answer. I mean, I wish I could tell you. I personally, I was in speech therapy for the R and the S sound as a kid for, I think, a minimum, somewhere between 2 to 3 years. And so it's very difficult. But the goal is, yes, to get them going so that way I don't want confidence affected. That being said, too, to talk about how long it could last, it really is also just dependent on how much practice we can get in and how much fun and motivation we can create, so that way we are practicing those target sounds. And there are even different types of speech sounds disorders. So that can be for another episode. But for that good old popular one, such as articulation, yes, we're getting in and we're really working closely on creating those sounds, so we're having fun. Last part also, another thing that parents want to sometimes even know what's the cause of it. And so sometimes we have cleft lip, cleft palate, sometimes it could be a tongue tie, different reasons. It's interesting. And then we can just even go back to, those environmental features such as, allergies or not, really eating all different types of food, crunchy, soft, to use that tongue, moving those jaw muscles. And those questions can really be answered later once, therapy is getting established. And if you have any more questions about this, please just email me or leave a comment below, and I'm happy to answer your questions, because all of our kiddos are so different reasons. But I'm happy to try to help, and whether it's with us at Speech Family or referring to someone maybe closer to you, I'm happy to be a part of that. Thanks a lot, guys, for watching. Bye-bye.